Welcome to Discover the Duncan Difference, a Duncan Financial Group podcast. Discussions in the show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Duncan Financial Group are not affiliated. Welcome back to Discover the Duncan Difference podcast. Today, I have Lisa Brown with us. Lisa is in the personal insurance department at Duncan, and she has been with us for over 35 years, correct?
36, actually.
36
yes.
years, which is absolutely amazing. So I'm so excited to get to talk with her today and excited for you guys to get to know her. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself personally, and then if you want to talk about business, tell us what you do, who you are.
Okay, well, like you said, I've been with Duncan for 36 years. I was very young at the time, not married. During the course of, I've had two beautiful children. I have a daughter. She's going to be 28. She just recently got engaged, so we have a big wedding to plan for next year.
That's so exciting.
So super excited about that. She's a school teacher. She teaches French and Spanish for Montour School District.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And then my son Jacob, he will be 26 in a few weeks also. And he's a performer. He's my funny child. He's very talented, and he cracks us up all the time. And he's a performer. He's currently in Dutch Wonderland right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah, it is fun. So that's my two children, and I have a cat and a dad that I take care of.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's so awesome. And so can you explain what you do here at Duncan?
What I do, my position is I'm kind of a hybrid. I write new business. So I take on new clients, and then I also am an account manager. So I'm here to assist in whatever a client may need, policy changes, billing, ID cards, claims, that sort of thing, whatever the client whatever they would need.
Yeah. And have you been doing that this whole time that you've been here?
I've been doing the account manager thing the whole entire time. The hybrid thing started maybe 15 years ago. It was when we came to the new building.
Okay.
And actually John had started that hybrid position.
Yeah.
He found that I was writing a lot of new policies, so they kind of wanted to integrate that into what I do on a daily basis. So it's worked out very well, and I like doing both roles.
That's awesome. What's your favorite part about your job?
Talking with my clients, meeting new clients. I'm a chatterbox, and sometimes it's really hard, to cut the cord. Like, okay, stop talking now.
I have to stop talking.
Yeah, I have to stop talking now because I like to be personal with my clients, and I ask a lot of questions. And I know, like with all my younger clients, the ones that are getting married and having babies, I always ask for pictures. You got to send me a picture. Yes. I need to see a picture. I want it, and even with the pets. I need to see your dog. You just got a dog. I need to see the picture.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send that to me.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
That makes me feel a little bit more connected to them too.
Yeah, and I know your clients all love you. I know you've built incredible relationships with so many of them. I'm sure you have accounts that you've had almost since you started. I do have accounts that since I did start, and I actually have the third generations.
Wow. So they're children's children now. Like I'm actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So how did you get started at Duncan?
I got started by answering an ad in the newspaper. I was working.
So crazy.
Yeah. I mean, back when you had to answer ads in the newspaper, that there were no computers back then.
There was no Indeed.
There was no Indeed. What was Indeed? And
yes.
I needed to do a little bit better than I worked for a State Farm agent, and it was just about, bettering myself, doing more, making more money. And I answered the ad in the newspaper, and I found my way from Connellsville, Pennsylvania, all the way down to Irwin, Pennsylvania, without GPS.
No GPS.
No GPS.
No phone, no maps.
Nothing. I had to find my way in the dark.
Yeah.
I was on a cold Monday night, and I was interviewed by Jack, who God rest his soul, and John are the ones that interviewed me, and here we are 36 years later.
That's amazing. And I remember you telling me that you weren't sure if you got the job. Like the interview was so casual. You were like,
the interview, yeah, they took me back into the whole front of the office was dark. And I know, being very nervous, they took me back to this room where there was nothing in there but just like a couch and like a couple chairs. And here I am alone. I'm 26 years old and I'm alone with two men that I don't know. There's no cell phone. So no, I couldn't call anybody like, hey, I need help, come get me.
Right.
And I'm sitting there. No. And they asked me a couple pertinent questions relevant to, so you have your insurance license and you work for Rosemary. Yeah. And then they started off on a subject, like they were talking between themselves. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I didn't get this job.
This isn't going well.
It's not going well at all. And, we got up and they're like, well, thank you for your time. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was a Monday night. And I know 2 days later, John called me and he said, we'd like to offer you the job. And I remember thinking, really? Like, they must be desperate, or based on what? Because they didn't interview me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. And so at the time, how many employees were there when you started?
The day I started, there was 8 of us.
Wow.
And then like 3 weeks later, they had another one, but it was nine of us for a few years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And now there's many I don't even know.
Can't even keep track of all
I can't count them all now. Yeah.
It's so different.
It's so different
than having a small little office.
Yes.
And you guys, the original one that you were at was in Irwin, the 5th Street office. Is that the one?
That's not where I started. That was the original one, but they had already moved to the one over on Moss Drive.
Okay, so that was your first one.
Yes, that was my first one.
Okay, and then you moved here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, then I moved here. Yes.
So crazy. It's just, I think it's such a cool legacy to have for Paps, to have somebody who, he hired himself, and still, 36 later for you to be here. To be such an integral part of our team.
He was an amazing individual, and there really has not been anybody like Jack, and I miss him every day, and I still tear up when I when I think about him and see his picture down in the
you're gonna make me tear up.
I know, like,
because it's so fun to hear about, because I was 6 whenever he passed away, so I remember him, but I don't remember him in the way that you do, because you have these memories, and it's just like so amazing to hear it, because the only memories I have are playing around with him. I can't hear his voice. I can't think of it in the same way that you can, which is
he danced at my wedding. I'd like to dance with him. I have a picture of us dancing, which is really nice, and I have beautiful memories of him, and he was a fun guy. I mean, he was an amazing person. Yeah, I miss him every day.
He cared about you guys so much. I know that.
He had nicknames for all of us. I know you can't tell with my hair now, but I used to have permy curly hair, and my nickname was Curly Locks.
Oh.
So yeah, that's what I was called.
Yeah. I love that. So do you have any like funny stories or anything that you would want to share about that time whenever it was just the 9 of you guys?
Oh, there's so many of the stories, when you factor in, when we had Terry Mardell and John, and, we were such a tight-knit group that I'd have to think of a story to even share. I know, how about an April Fool's one?
Yeah, give it to us.
Well, yeah, because it was one of the, I was hired in February, and April Fool's Day was just right around the corner. Nobody really knew who I was at that time.
Yeah, you were brand new.
I was brand new. So I told everybody, I said, come on, I like to play jokes. We got to pull a joke on John. So I had already informed Jack what we wanted to do. So he purposely stayed home that day.
Yeah.
So the employees that were coming in that day, we all hid our cars across the street. Okay. So we were pulling this joke on John that when he pulled into the office, nobody was going to be there. So we all hid back by his desk in a little office that had like one of those 2-way mirrors, so he couldn't see in, but we could see out.
Yes, that was smart.
Oh yeah. So yeah, how we didn't like just bust out laughing, he could hear us. It was just funny. But so he came in, and we left the receptionist there. Her name was Karen, and he's like looking around, Karen, where's everybody at? And we could hear him because it was a small office, it wasn't enclosed. And Karen's like, well, Mary Ann called off sick. She wasn't feeling well. Valerie had to take her cat to the vet, so she'll probably be in later. We're not sure. Mary Rodman had to go pick up her husband at the end of the turnpike, so she's probably going to be late. And we don't know about Lisa Brown. She just didn't show up. So we could hear John walk back to his desk, and he slammed his keys down, and you could hear him pushing the buttons on the phone, calling Jack. And Jack was giving him the speech. Well, John, you need to be better controlling of your employees, especially if you want to take over someday. Oh, but Dad, they're just not here. I don't know what I'm going to do. And nobody's here. And Jack was going through asking him, and he said, Lisa's not even here. And Jack was like, Lisa who? Well, Lisa Brown, the new employee. She's not even here. And so they went through their conversation. He slammed the phone down, and we were in there just laughing hysterically.
Hilarious.
It was hilarious. So we knocked on the window, and he's like looking around, and we held up a sign, April Fool's, John. And he's just like, oh, you guys got me good. Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So throughout your time, I know there's so many instances that you have kind of gone above and beyond and gone the extra mile for our clients. Do you have anything that comes to mind of ways that like we help our clients in ways that maybe another place wouldn't be able to do that?
I guess probably one of the ones that stick out without like really thinking about it. I wasn't prepared with the questions.
Sorry.
This was I think 2 years ago. One of my clients, she had a bird hit her picture window,
mm-hmm.
and I called the claim in, and they denied it because they don't cover birds, animals, et cetera. But I just kept thinking to myself, I think there's a way that we need to get this covered.
Yeah.
And it was a $6,000 window. It wasn't cheap.
Wow. Yeah.
So I told her just to hang in there. Let's just be patient with this. So, I get the policy out and I'm going through, and I went down to a section where it was additional coverages.
Mm-hmm.
And item number 12, I think it's not 9 or 12, it says specifically that we pay for glass in a covered building.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't say anything unless previously excluded elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I called the supervisor and I said, listen, like, I'm not trying to stir up trouble. The adjuster was right in her initial denial, but I just think that if she would have read a little further, I think this has to be covered.
Yeah.
And they got back to me and they said, we agree with you. So they reopened
Wow.
the claim and they ended up paying it. So she got her window replaced.
Yeah, that's amazing. And some places wouldn't have even been able to do that if they are a capture agency where they only do what they're allowed to do. They wouldn't have been able to do that. Whereas we are an independent agency. Right. So you're able to like really be on the client's side and fight for them. Yeah.
And I like doing that because, we pay a lot of money for our insurance.
Yeah.
And if we can find ways to make it better for them, that was a very good day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was very excited about that because I feel like I want to claim.
Yes, right, exactly. And for your client, that's huge. $6,000 is a big deal. Most people don't have that just lying around.
No.
So to be able to know that it's covered and know that your insurance agent really went into battle for you and didn't just accept the no and make you pay for it I think it's so good to just know that your insurance agent is on your side.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do. I mean, we have a great personal lines team right now, and that's what we try to do. We always try to fight for the best price, best coverage. It's been a little challenging as of late with the homeowners because of hard. It's been a hard market and it's been a little challenging, but we try.
Yeah, that actually brings me to my next question. What is the hardest part about your job right now?
Right now, it's finding the competitive rates.
Yeah, because everything is
just gone up. I mean, we've had some carriers that the homeowners over 40% increases,
which is craziness.
And
maybe they don't even have a claim.
No claims. There's just no rhyme or reason.
Yeah,
and it's
so difficult.
And it's mostly because of the roofs right now,
mm-hmm.
and that's where the challenge is coming in. So,
yes. And so we're an independent agency, so we are looking at multiple different offers. We're not just looking at our own. So it's really a difficult time right now in a difficult market. What would you say to clients, or what are you saying to clients? Because I'm sure you're getting lots and lots of phone calls and emails. So what are you kind of saying to them? And I know that like even I talked to Tyler last week, and he was saying his own homeowner's insurance has gone up over 40%, and he has no claim. So how are you explaining that to clients? And do you think that that's going to get better eventually? Will it start to even out?
Oh, I think eventually it'll start to even out once the companies get a grip on what they need to do to make it right.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is the age of the roof and deductibles, things like that. But I mean, I try to look at the current policy and see where they are,
mm-hmm.
The conditions of the roof. If they have an older roof, then they may not want to change.
Right.
Because right now they're probably grandfathered in. If something happens, they're going to get a new roof.
Completely.
Whereas
new roof,
if they have an older roof going to a new company, they may not.
Right, you might save on your premium, but then you're not going to get that full replacement cost then.
Yes. So I try to weigh both differences and just give my best opinion. Say I wouldn't change if I were you, or if we can change, maybe you want a higher deductible, you're okay with that. So it's just a combination of, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that it makes your job a lot harder
Oh,
and
it
a
does.
lot more
Yes.
stressful to come into. There are years, and I feel like this is kind of unprecedented. I don't feel like the insurance, like, I mean, you've been doing this for 36 years, so you would know it's never really been quite this high.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so that's stressful.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone through like changes, like maybe this company has gone up. So maybe my group of clients that were with this company, they would all call, but now it's everybody. So everybody's calling. Everybody's calling.
Yeah. It's like this huge, like upside down, like the insurance the agency has lost so much money that they have to like right side the ship, and it's gone so far up.
Exactly.
And hopefully it will eventually start coming back down.
Yes. That's what we're hoping.
Yeah. So tell me what your favorite part about working at Duncan is. I know I talked to Tyler last week, and what he was saying was that he loves the personal lines department. And like you guys specifically working with you all, he's learned so much from being able to learn from people that have been in the industry for so long. And, you are an expert at what you're doing. And also just that you guys all kind of help each other out. So I'm interested to see what you have to say about what your favorite part of working at Duncan is.
I like the interaction with people.
Yeah.
I do work from home 2 days a week, but I'm the first one. If I need to come in, I'll come in because at home I'm so secluded.
Yeah.
And I like the interaction. I like seeing, talking to the employees, the customers that come in. I like the interaction. So, I mean, that's my favorite part.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so great. Okay, last question for you is, if somebody was thinking about switching to Duncan, they were looking at Duncan and considering it, what would you tell them?
First of all, I would, thank them very much for the opportunity. Take a look at their policies, go through their coverages. I always ask, what is your concern? Is price your concern, or is coverage your concern? So I try to weigh out, giving them the best price and maybe possibly giving them more coverage, because a lot of times they don't have the coverage that they think they do.
Yes.
And I find that a lot.
Yes.
You didn't have the limits that you thought you did. And I like to educate my clients. And if you want to hear a story that,
absolutely,
because I liked, especially my younger clients, I like to let them know like how the policy works for them.
Yes.
And they had bought a new home, and we went through the water backup coverage, explaining it. And sometimes you have to buy water backup in like 2 separate areas.
Yes.
Okay. Or then having 10, you might have 5 with this this endorsement and 5 just with the basic policy, which that was the case with him. One of his endorsements gave him an extra 5. And he had a claim, and the adjuster called him and said, well, we can give you 5. And he goes, nope. My agent told me I had 10, and this is where it's at. And when he told me that just made me feel like, oh my gosh, they pay attention.
Yeah, they're listening to me.
And they're listening to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually have another question. Sorry.
That's okay.
Just reminded me of another question. What is it that you think that a lot of people think that they have covered and they don't? Or like, what do you experience where people think they have something covered, or they're underinsured and they don't realize it? Like, what are some examples of that, would you say?
Water backup is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People assume that that's going to be covered, and
flood.
It's not.
Yeah, flood. I love to explain water. I mean, that's one of the first things that I go through and I explain, because how water gets into your house.
Yeah.
And
there's ways.
A different, flood's not always just flood. How is it coming into your house? Is it inside coming up? Is it coming down from above? So a lot of people are just everything's covered.
Right.
And everything is
think
not
it's
covered.
all good.
Yeah. So I like to explain the exclusions and open peril versus named peril, things like that. So you'd be surprised at people that really don't know their policies, and people that have been with other carriers for years and years and years that really don't even know.
That have no idea.
No.
And so if somebody was with another agency and they were kind of questioning, oh boy, I don't know, or I never meet with my insurance agent, they haven't ever asked me these types of questions, would they be able to come here and have us look at that with like no charge?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's great.
I still have, the funny thing is there's a few people over the years that I've not been able to help. And they actually will call me with questions. I know I don't have my insurance here, but can you still help me? Sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's great to know. So if you are considering switching, or you're not sure if you are overinsured, underinsured, you can bring it to us. We can give it a look.
Absolutely.
And even if you're not going to use us, we can give you that, our opinion, and then you can take
what we tell you,
Yes.
and you can do what you want with it.
Absolutely.
That is so awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank
it has been a
you.
blast.
Oh, thank you so
we
much.
are,
Emily.
I speak for all of us Duncans. We are so lucky to have you
Oh,
at
thank
Duncan.
you. Thank you so much.
We just thank you so much for your loyalty. I'm going to
Thank
cry.
you. Oh, I don't cry.
So thank you, seriously, from the bottom of our heart.
You're very welcome.
Incredible that you are still here with us and that you have helped our family in so many different ways, not just doing your job. You have gone above and beyond in the community. Here, I know you've ripped out carpets in our buildings and helped us to move and done so much more than what's in your job description. So we are so thankful to have you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Discover the Duncan difference. We will see you next week.